Introduction. The hidden power of asking. Let me ask you something simple. When was the last time you asked for what you truly wanted? Not a polite suggestion, not a half-hearted hope, but a bold, clear, confident ask. If you're like most people, it's been a while. And if you're being honest with yourself, maybe you've never really asked with your full heart, with no fear, and with total belief that you deserve to receive. This book is about changing that. You see, there's a quiet truth that lives beneath every successful negotiation, every meaningful connection, every major life transformation. Someone had the courage to ask. Asking is one of the most underrated superpowers we possess. It's how we access opportunities, deepen relationships, and shift the course of our lives. Yet most of us shy away from it. We stay silent. We wait for the right moment. We hope people will just know what we need. But here's the thing. Closed mouths don't get fed, and people don't read minds. In a world that's overflowing with noise, the boldest voice is the one that's clear, intentional, and unafraid to ask. This book will show you how to become that voice. We'll break down why people hesitate to ask, the hidden fears behind it, and most importantly, how to overcome them. You'll learn how to ask in a way that feels authentic, respectful, and effective. Whether you want a raise, a second chance, more time, love, forgiveness, or simply a better seat on the plane, this book is your blueprint. And no, it's not about manipulation or trickery. It's about communication. It's about understanding psychology. It's about developing the kind of presence that makes people want to say yes to you, not because they're forced to, but because they believe in what you're asking for. This book is for the dreamers and the doers, for the quiet ones who have been too afraid to speak, and for those who've asked before, only to be turned away. This time, you'll ask differently. As you listen, I want you to imagine this not as a lecture, but as a conversation between us, you and me. A space where your desires are not only valid, they're the starting point of a whole new chapter in your life. So sit back, relax. Let's begin the journey to learning how to ask and actually get what you want. Because once you master the art of asking, almost nothing will be out of reach. Chapter 1. Why most people never ask. Imagine standing in front of a door that could open to everything you've ever wanted. Success, love, opportunity, happiness. Now imagine that door is unlocked. The only thing you have to do is knock, and yet most people never do. They don't knock. They don't ask. Not because they don't want what's behind the door, but because something stops them. Something internal, invisible, deep. So what's really holding people back from asking? Fear of rejection. Let's start with the most obvious one, rejection. We fear hearing the word no. It stings. It makes us feel small, embarrassed, even foolish. Somewhere along the way, most of us learned that rejection meant we weren't good enough. And so to protect ourselves, we avoid asking altogether. But rejection is not a reflection of your worth. It's simply a response, based on timing, circumstance, or the other person's perspective. The truth is, every no you receive brings you one step closer to the yes that matters most. The boldest people in the world, entrepreneurs, artists, leaders, innovators, they've all faced rejection. Dozens of times, sometimes hundreds. What sets them apart isn't that they never got rejected, it's that they kept asking anyway. Fear of looking weak or needy. Some people confuse asking with weakness. They believe that strong, independent people should never need to ask for anything. They think asking makes them look needy, desperate, or incapable. But here's a secret. The strongest people are the ones who know how to ask. Why? Because it takes courage to admit you want something. It takes confidence to say, I can't do this alone, or I'd love your help, or here's what I need. Vulnerability is not weakness. It's a form of strength that builds trust, connection, and growth. Fear of judgment. We worry about what others will think. Will they laugh at us? Think we're too ambitious? Too forward? Too much? These fears come from our desire to be liked, accepted, and approved. But if you live your life trying to please everyone else, you'll end up betraying yourself. You'll silence your voice just to keep others comfortable. The truth? People respect someone who knows what they want and isn't afraid to ask for it. It shows clarity, purpose, and self-respect. And those who judge you for asking, they were never the ones meant to give you what you needed anyway. Lack of belief in deserving. Here's a subtle but powerful reason most people never ask. They don't actually believe they deserve what they want. Deep down, they question their worth. They think, who am I to ask for more? Or, I haven't earned it yet. Or worse, others need it more than I do. This kind of thinking is rooted in scarcity, not abundance. Listen carefully. You are allowed to want more. You are allowed to ask for better. You are allowed to take up space in this world and voice your needs. When you believe you are worthy of good things, you begin to move differently. You stop begging. You start asking with power, not knowing what to ask. For some people don't ask because they don't even know what to ask for. They haven't taken the time to reflect on their needs, their desires, or their vision. They're moving through life passively, hoping that things will just fall into place. But clarity is power. The clearer you are about what you want, the more confidently you can ask for it, and the more likely others are to say yes. This book will help you get that clarity. Cultural and social conditioning. In many cultures, asking is seen as rude, impolite, or inappropriate, especially for women or younger individuals. People are taught to wait, to endure, to be humble. But humility doesn't mean silence. You can be respectful and assertive. You can be kind and clear. Breaking free from these learned beliefs is part of reclaiming your voice. Because your voice matters, your needs matter. We wait for permission too often. We wait for someone else to open the door for us, to invite us, to say, it's okay, you can ask now. But if you're always waiting for permission, you'll spend your life on standby, watching others take the chances that were meant for you. Here's a truth that might change your life. You don't need permission to want more. You just need the courage to ask. This chapter isn't meant to shame you for not asking. It's meant to shine a light on why you haven't, and help you see that you're not alone. All of us at some point have felt the fears, the doubts, the hesitation. But once you recognize what's stopping you, you can begin to change it. In the next chapter, we'll dive into the psychology of a bold ask, what actually happens in the mind when you ask for what you want, and how to rewire your brain to do it confidently and effectively, because asking isn't just a skill, it's a mindset. Let's move forward. Chapter 2. The psychology of a bold ask. There's a moment, right before we ask for something, that feels electric. It's a split second where your heart speeds up, your voice hesitates, and a little voice in your mind whispers, what if they say no? It's in that very moment that most people retreat. But what if I told you that the key to getting what you want doesn't lie in the outcome, but in that exact moment, the moment before the ask? That's where transformation begins. Let's explore the psychology behind a bold ask, and how you can train your mind to push through fear, speak up, and get results. The inner dialogue that shapes everything. Every ask starts with a conversation in your head. Before you say a single word out loud, you've already debated it, judged it, and possibly talked yourself out of it. That's because your brain is wired to keep you safe, not successful. It wants comfort, not challenge. And asking for what you want? That's uncomfortable. It introduces uncertainty, potential rejection, and the risk of disappointment. So your brain goes, let's not do this. Let's play it safe. Let's just wait and see. But you can override that script. You can reprogram your inner dialogue to support boldness, not fear. Start by shifting your mental framing from, what if they say no, to, what if they say yes? This simple shift moves your focus from fear to possibility. It primes your brain to expect opportunity, not rejection. Rejection is data, not death. Here's a powerful mindset shift. Rejection isn't personal, it's just information. When someone says no to your request, they're not rejecting you as a human being. They're responding to the context of your ask, their priorities, or their capacity in that moment. Think of it like a scientist conducting an experiment. If the outcome isn't what they hoped for, they don't break down emotionally. They take notes, adjust the variables, and try again. You can do the same. A bold asker doesn't take rejection as a dead end. They see it as feedback, as insight, as redirection. When you treat asking like a learning process instead of an emotional risk, everything changes. Confidence is a skill, not a trait. Many people think confidence is something you're either born with or not. That's a myth. Confidence is a skill. And like any skill, it's built through repetition, small wins, and deliberate practice. Every time you ask for something, no matter how small, you strengthen that confidence muscle. You build resilience. You teach your brain that discomfort isn't dangerous. Here's a practical tip. Start small. Ask for extra sauce at the restaurant. Ask for a better price. Ask for a deadline extension. Each tiny ask is a rep in the gym of your mind. And with time, boldness becomes your default setting. People want to say yes. If you let them, one of the biggest breakthroughs in mastering the art of asking is this. Most people actually want to say yes. Think about it. Don't you feel good when you help someone? When you say yes to a favor or a request that makes a difference? The same is true for others. But here's the catch. They can't say yes if your ask is vague, hesitant, or buried in apology. If you approach people with confidence, clarity, and respect, they're far more likely to be receptive. Boldness doesn't push people away. It draws them in, as long as it's paired with warmth and intention. People love to support someone who knows what they want and respects the value of the other person's time and energy. Uncertainty is where growth lives. If you're waiting to ask until you're 100% sure it will work, you'll never ask. Because certainty is an illusion. Life is full of unknowns, but that's exactly where all the magic happens. In uncertainty. That space where you don't know how it will turn out, but you ask anyway. That space where courage steps in and something new begins. Ask not because you're guaranteed a yes, but because the act of asking itself is a declaration that you believe you're worthy. Reframing. Asking is empowerment. Let's reframe what asking really means. It's not begging. It's not being needy. It's empowerment. It's advocacy. It's action. When you ask, you're not taking something away. You're creating a potential exchange, a win-win, a bridge between your needs and someone else's capacity to meet them. You're saying, here's what I'd love. Here's what matters to me. Here's a way we could both benefit. That's not weakness. That's leadership. The ask is the seed, not the harvest. One final mindset shift. Stop treating every ask like it has to succeed on the first try. Not every seed you plant will grow immediately. Some take time. Some need water, sunlight, nurturing. And some just weren't meant to bloom in that soil. The ask is the beginning, not the end. The more seeds you plant, respectfully, clearly, and consistently, the more opportunities will sprout in unexpected places. What this chapter means. For you right now, your mind might still whisper doubts. That's normal. But remember this. The voice in your head is not always telling the truth, especially the one that says, don't ask. Your job isn't to silence that voice. Your job is to act anyway, to ask even when your hands shake, to speak even when your heart races. Because with each bold ask, you rewire your brain to trust you, to believe in your strength, to believe that what you want is possible. And once your mind starts to believe that, the world begins to respond. Chapter 3. Ask with clarity, not confusion. Have you ever heard someone ask for something and had no idea what they actually wanted? They speak in circles, they hint, they hope you'll get it. But here's the truth. If your ask is unclear, the answer is likely a no. Clarity is power. And when it comes to asking, clarity is what separates wishful thinking from persuasive influence. This chapter is your blueprint for turning vague desires into clear, confident requests that people can actually act on. Why clarity matters more than confidence. Confidence gets attention, but clarity gets results. You don't need to be loud, assertive, or even charismatic. You just need to be clear. Clarity tells people what you want, why you want it, and what it means for them. When you speak with clarity, you make it easy for people to say yes. There's no guessing, no reading between the lines, no confusion. You're not just hoping they understand, you're making sure they do. The anatomy of a clear ask, let's break it down. Every effective ask has 3 components. The what. What exactly are you asking for? The why. Why is it important, urgent, or valuable? The how. How do you envision this happening? Let's take an example. Instead of saying, I was wondering if you maybe had time to help me sometime, try this. Could we schedule a 30-minute call this Friday at 2 p.m. to go over the project proposal? Your insight would really help me finalize the direction. It's clear, it's respectful, and it's actionable. That's what people respond to. Avoid the trap of vague language. Many people use vague language because they're afraid of being too direct. But vagueness doesn't soften the request. It weakens it. Phrases like, if you don't mind, just thought I'd ask. It's probably not a big deal. These are verbal disclaimers that dilute your message and reduce your influence. Instead, own your ask. Be polite, yes, but also be direct. Confidence isn't about aggression. It's about being grounded, focused, and clear. Use specifics to paint the picture. People are more likely to say yes when they can visualize what they're agreeing to. So give them the details. Instead of, can you help me with this? Try, can you review the first 2 pages of this document and give feedback by tomorrow morning? The more specific you are, the less mental work they have to do, and the easier it is to agree. Specificity builds trust. It shows you've thought it through, and it demonstrates respect for their time and clarity of purpose. Eliminate the maybe mindset. Maybe is where clarity goes to die. When you say, I might need some help. It would be nice if, I was thinking, possibly. You're asking without asking. Here's the rule. Don't suggest. Ask. Turn. Maybe we could talk later. Into, are you available today at 5 p.m. to discuss this? Don't leave your request floating in the air like a question mark. Bring it down to earth. Give it form. Make it real. The role of timing in a clear. Ask. Even the clearest request can fall flat if the timing is wrong. Part of being a master asker is being aware of context. Is the person overwhelmed, distracted, emotionally unavailable? If so, pause. Choose a better moment. Clarity doesn't mean demanding. It means understanding when someone is actually able to hear and respond to you. Great askers aren't just clear, they're also tuned in. They know that timing plus clarity creates the highest chance of success. Ask for what you want, not what you think you deserve. Sometimes people hide their true ask inside a safe version. They say, I'm okay with whatever. Only, if it's not too much trouble. Anything would help. Because deep down they don't believe they deserve more. But here's the truth. You don't get what you deserve. You get what you clearly ask for. So don't water down your request. Don't play small. Don't make people guess what you really need. Say it. Own it. Trust that it's okay to ask for exactly what you want. Practice makes powerful. Clarity isn't something you perfect overnight. It's something you practice one conversation at a time. Try this exercise. Every day for the next week, practice one clear, intentional ask. Start small. Ask for an earlier meeting. Ask for help on a specific task. Ask someone to clarify something you don't understand. Then move to bigger asks as your confidence grows. Each time, follow the formula. What? Why? How? You'll start to notice something amazing. People respond more, they say yes more. And you feel more empowered because you're finally being heard. When you're clear, the world listens. The universe doesn't respond to confusion. It responds to clarity, focus, and certainty. When you speak your wants into the world with clarity, you open doors. You turn invisible desires into visible action. You move from silence to influence. You become someone who doesn't just dream, they ask and they receive. What this chapter means for you: your words are tools. When used with intention, they create change. From now on, let go of the vague. Speak clearly. Ask directly. Trust yourself. Because clarity isn't just about communication, it's about commitment. It's the moment when you declare to the world, "This is what I want, and I believe it's possible." And that kind of clarity, it moves mountains. Chapter 4. Timing is everything. When to ask. You've learned the power of asking, and now it's time to uncover one of the most crucial secrets behind successful asking. Timing. Because no matter how clear, confident, or compelling your request may be, if you ask at the wrong moment, you risk missing out entirely. Timing is not just about waiting for the right moment. It's about understanding the flow of conversations, the moods of people, and the natural rhythm of opportunities. Asking too early, too late, or at an awkward moment can turn even the best request into a rejection. Imagine this. You're in a meeting, and you want to pitch your big idea. The boss is visibly stressed, dealing with an urgent crisis. You dive right in with your request. What happens? Chances are your words will fall on deaf ears because the timing is off. But what if you waited until the tension eased, the mood lightened, and the conversation shifted? Your chances of a positive response multiply exponentially. So, how do you master the art of timing? It starts with awareness. First, pay attention to context. Is the person you're asking open and receptive? Are they distracted or overwhelmed? Are you interrupting an important task or catching them during a natural break? Recognizing these signs can help you choose a moment when your ask will be heard fully and thoughtfully. Second, consider emotional temperature. People's willingness to engage and help fluctuates with their mood. A stressed or angry person is less likely to respond favorably than someone who feels appreciated and calm. Sometimes a simple act of kindness or patience can help create the emotional space needed before making your ask. Third, look for cues in the flow of conversation. Asking too abruptly can feel jarring, but weaving your request naturally into the dialogue can make it easier for others to say yes. For example, during a casual chat, you might mention your idea or need, gauge their reaction, and then ask formally once the time feels right. Timing is also about patience. Some asks require planting a seed and letting it grow. You might introduce a request gently, then follow up later when the timing is better. Persistence without pressure shows respect for the other person's timing and increases your chances of success. And lastly, trust your intuition. Often we know deep down when the moment feels right, even if it's just a quiet inner nudge. Learning to listen to that inner voice sharpens your timing over time. In the end, timing turns asking from a shot in the dark into a precise, well-aimed arrow. It's not about luck. It's about preparation, observation, and respect. When you master timing, you not only get what you want, you do so gracefully and effortlessly. So remember, the power of asking isn't just in what you say, but when you say it. Chapter 5. The Art of Framing. Your ask when it comes to asking for something. The way you frame your request can make all the difference between a yes and a no. This chapter dives into the subtle but powerful art of how you ask, because it's not just what you ask for, but how you present it that influences the outcome. Imagine you're at a market, trying to sell your idea, your time, or your help. The same message can be accepted warmly or rejected coldly depending on how it's packaged. This is the essence of framing your ask. Why framing matters. Framing shapes perception. It sets the tone and context in which your request is heard and understood. The right frame can make your ask feel like a win-win, an opportunity or a natural extension of a relationship, rather than a burden or an imposition. Think of it as storytelling. Your ask is the story's core, but the frame is the way you tell it, the lens you choose to highlight its value and relevance. Frame your ask as a mutual benefit. One of the most effective ways to frame your ask is to focus on the benefits for the other person. People are naturally drawn to requests that create value for them, not just for you. Instead of saying, "Can you do this favor for me?" you might say, "I believe this could also benefit you by," or, "Here's how this helps us both." This approach builds connection. It shows you've thought about their interests, and it invites collaboration instead of obligation. Be clear and specific. Well-framed ask is never vague. Clarity shows respect for the other person's time and energy. It helps them understand exactly what you need, why you need it, and how they can help. For example, rather than saying, "Could you help me sometime?" say, "Could you review this proposal by Wednesday afternoon?" Your feedback would be invaluable for the final version. This specificity makes it easier for someone to say yes or to say no with a clear reason. Use positive language. Words carry emotional weight. Framing your ask with positive, confident language invites a positive response. Avoid hedging phrases like, "I'm not sure if you can, but," or "if it's not too much trouble." Instead, lead with statements like, "I'd really appreciate your help with," or "Your expertise would make a big difference in." This shifts the energy from uncertainty or apology to respect and confidence. Frame around timing and convenience. Another key aspect is showing you value the other person's time. Frame your ask with flexibility or awareness of their schedule. For example, "If you have 15 minutes this week, I'd love to get your input." Or, "Whenever you have a moment, could you?" This lets the other person feel in control of when and how they respond, reducing pressure and increasing goodwill. Storytelling in your ask. People respond deeply to stories because they create emotional connection. When appropriate, frame your ask by sharing a brief, authentic story or context. For example, instead of a dry request, you might say, "I've been working on this project for months, and your experience could really help me avoid pitfalls I'm worried about." This makes your ask relatable and meaningful. The power of gratitude in framing. Finally, framing your ask with genuine gratitude can soften any hesitations. Expressing appreciation not just after but as part of the ask itself acknowledges the value of the other person's time and effort. Try something like, "I know your time is precious, and I really appreciate you considering this." This builds warmth and openness in the conversation. Summary of key points in framing your ask. Focus on mutual benefits. Show how the ask helps both parties. Be clear and specific. Respect their time by being direct. Use positive, confident language. Avoid hedging or apologizing. Respect timing and convenience. Give space and control. Tell a brief, authentic story. Build emotional connection. Express gratitude up front. Create warmth and openness. Mastering the art of framing your ask is about more than just the words. It's about empathy, respect, and the way you invite others into your world. When done right, asking becomes a natural, empowering conversation. One that opens doors, builds trust, and brings you closer to what you want, without friction or awkwardness. Chapter 6. How to handle rejection. Like a pro-rejection. Just the word can make us shrink back, doubt ourselves, or even avoid asking altogether. But here's a truth you need to embrace. Rejection is not the end. It's part of the journey. How you handle rejection can either keep you stuck or propel you forward toward getting what you want. This chapter is all about turning rejection into your secret weapon, handling it with grace, resilience, and even strategy. Because when you learn to face rejection like a pro, you gain power over your own path. Why rejection happens and why it's not personal first. It's important to understand that rejection is rarely about you personally. People say no for all sorts of reasons: timing, priorities, resources, or simply because what you're asking for isn't a fit right now. Recognizing this helps you detach your self-worth from the outcome. Your value does not decrease just because someone says no. Reframe rejection as valuable feedback. Instead of seeing rejection as failure, View it as a gift, information you can use to adjust your approach. Every no is a clue about what doesn't work, and sometimes what might work better next time. For example, if your ask was too vague, too early, or framed in a way that didn't resonate, rejection points you to these gaps. Use it to sharpen your skills. Don't take it personally. Stay curious. It's natural to feel disappointed or discouraged, but resist the urge to internalize rejection as a personal judgment. Instead, adopt a mindset of curiosity. Ask yourself, what can I learn here? Or is there a better way to ask next time? This keeps you open, growing, and focused on solutions instead of setbacks. Practice emotional agility. Handling rejection. Like a pro means managing your emotional responses, acknowledging feelings without letting them control you. When you receive a no, take a breath. Allow yourself a moment to feel whatever comes up, then consciously shift your focus back to your goals and possibilities. This emotional agility keeps you resilient and ready to ask again. Maintain professionalism and gratitude even if the answer is no. Respond with professionalism and genuine gratitude. Thank the person for their time and consideration. Why? Because relationships matter. How you handle rejection can leave doors open for the future. A respectful no today might turn into a yes tomorrow, or lead to unexpected opportunities down the line. Know when to follow up and when to let go sometimes. A rejection is not final. If it feels appropriate, ask if you can follow up later or if there's another way to collaborate. But also learn to recognize when to let go gracefully. Pushing too hard after multiple no's can burn bridges and drain your energy. Know your boundaries and trust your intuition about when it's time to move on. Use rejection to build confidence. Here's a powerful mindset shift. Every time you face rejection and keep going, you build confidence and courage. Each ask you make, no matter the answer, is practice in asserting your needs and desires. Over time, you become less afraid of rejection and more focused on the potential yeses that lie ahead. Summary of key strategies for handling rejection. Like a pro. Remember, rejection isn't personal. Detach your self-worth from the outcome. Reframe rejection as feedback. Learn and improve from every no. Stay curious and open. Ask what you can do differently next time. Practice emotional agility. Manage feelings without losing momentum. Respond with gratitude. Keep relationships positive and professional. Know when to follow up or let go. Respect boundaries and energy. Build confidence through persistence. Each ask makes you stronger. Rejection is simply a part of the asking process. A stepping stone, not a stumbling block. By handling it like a pro, you transform it from something to fear into something to embrace. With this skill in your toolkit, you'll find that doors open more often, and your journey toward getting what you want becomes not just easier, but richer and more rewarding. Chapter 7. Ask big, ask often. The power of boldness and frequency. To master the art of asking, one principle stands out above the rest. Ask big and ask often. This might feel intimidating at first. After all, asking big means aiming for what you truly want, not settling for scraps or half measures. Asking often means showing up again and again, despite the inevitable rejections, doubts, and setbacks. This chapter explores why thinking small holds you back, how asking big unlocks possibilities, and why the frequency of your asks builds momentum and resilience. Together, they create a powerful cycle that propels you toward your goals. Why asking big matters? Too often, people limit themselves by fearing they might be too bold or too demanding. They ask for less than they want or need, thinking it's safer or more polite. But this is a trap. Asking small keeps you confined inside others' comfort zones, not your own. Asking big is a mindset. It's the belief that you deserve great, things that your goals are worthy, and that there is enough for everyone. When you ask big, you invite opportunities that simply wouldn't come if you aim small. Consider stories of entrepreneurs who asked for millions in investment, artists who asked for massive audience support, or activists who asked for sweeping social change. Their success began by daring to ask beyond the obvious or immediate. The psychology behind asking. Asking big activates a different part of the brain, the part that imagines possibility, abundance, and growth. Small asks tend to appeal to safety and security, which triggers a more conservative mindset. When you ask big, you prime yourself to think expansively. This mindset attracts energy, creativity, and alignment with people who want to help you succeed. Yet asking big also triggers resistance both internally and externally. Your own fears and doubts may surface, and others might respond with skepticism. Recognizing this resistance as a natural part of growth helps you push through it. How to prepare yourself to ask big. Clarify what you really want. Big asks require clear, specific goals. What is the true outcome you want? Write it down in detail. Visualize it regularly. Build confidence through small wins. Practice asking for smaller things that stretch you a little each time. This builds a habit and a belief that asking works. Frame your ask around impact. When asking big, emphasize how it creates value, not just for you, but for others. This shifts the energy from demand to opportunity. Anticipate and plan for objections. Think about possible pushbacks or doubts, and prepare calm, clear responses. This helps reduce fear and shows you're serious. The importance of asking. Often asking once is rarely enough. Most successful asks happen after persistence, multiple conversations, and continual effort. The more you ask, the more chances you create. Why we avoid asking. Often many hesitate to ask repeatedly because they fear being seen as annoying, desperate, or pushy. But the truth is that people often respect persistence when it's respectful and authentic. Building momentum with frequency. Each ask, whether it's granted or denied, teaches you something. It builds experience, refines your approach, and grows your network. Moreover, asking often keeps your goals visible to others. Sometimes it's a matter of timing. The answer changes as circumstances evolve. Strategies for asking big and often without burning bridges. Maintain respect and gratitude. Always acknowledge the other person's time and energy. Gratitude creates goodwill even if the answer is no. Vary your approach. Use different channels and formats. Emails, calls, meetings, social media, or face-to-face. This keeps your asks fresh and tailored. Listen and adapt. Pay attention to responses and feedback. Adjust your ask to better meet others' needs or concerns. Space your asks thoughtfully. Give appropriate time between requests to avoid overwhelm, but keep the conversation alive. Real-life examples of asking big and asking. Often example. 1. The startup founder. A young entrepreneur needed funding. Instead of a timid ask, she boldly presented a vision for $1 billion market and persistently followed up with investors, learning from each meeting to refine her pitch. Example 2. The author's journey. An aspiring writer asked repeatedly for feedback and publication opportunities, facing dozens of rejections but using each no to improve and reach more editors, eventually landing a major book deal. Overcoming. Fear of rejection in big and frequent. Asks, fear of rejection is the biggest barrier to asking big and often. Techniques to overcome this fear include visualization. Imagine success vividly before asking. Desensitization. Practice asking in low-stakes environments. Reframing. Rejection. See rejection as information, not failure. Exercises to practice. Asking big and often. Set a bold goal. Write down one big ask you will make this week. Make multiple asks. Plan 3 asks over the next month, each bigger than the last. Reflect and adjust. After each ask, journal your feelings, the response, and lessons learned. The mindset shift. From scarcity to abundance. One of the biggest blocks to asking big and asking often is the scarcity mindset, the belief that resources, opportunities, or goodwill are limited. When you think this way, you hesitate to ask because you fear you'll be turned down, judged, or that there's not enough to go around. To ask boldly and frequently, you must shift into an abundance mindset. This is the confident belief that there is plenty of opportunity, support, and success available for you and for others. How to cultivate an abundance mindset. Gratitude practice. Each day, list 3 things you're grateful for. This trains your brain to notice abundance, celebrate others' success. Instead of feeling threatened by others' wins, celebrate them. This creates positive energy and attracts reciprocity. Visualize unlimited possibilities. Spend time imagining your goals as already achieved. Picture the opportunities flowing toward you effortlessly. Replace limiting beliefs. When thoughts like, "I can't ask that," or "they'll say no" arise, challenge them. Ask yourself, "What if I can?" Or "What if they say yes?" Crafting your big ask. Clarity and confidence. Big ask needs to be crystal clear. Vague or uncertain requests rarely get a yes. Clarity communicates confidence and respect for the other person's decision-making process. Steps to craft a powerful big ask. Define your core objective. What is the single most important thing you want? Be specific. Know your value proposition. What makes your ask worthwhile for the person you're asking? How will they benefit? Create a compelling story. Humans respond to stories. Frame your ask within a narrative that connects emotionally. Be concise and direct. Don't bury your request under unnecessary details. Get to the point while maintaining warmth. Include a clear call to action. What exactly do you want them to do? Be explicit. Why frequency matters more than most people. Realize asking often is not just about persistence, it's about relationship building and visibility. Imagine planting seeds in a garden. One seed might not sprout, but repeated planting increases your chances for growth. Similarly, each ask plants a seed of possibility. The compound effect of asking. Often repeated asking builds trust. People see your commitment and reliability. Familiarity. You become top of mind, increasing chances they say yes. Experience. Each ask improves your skills and builds confidence. Connections. New people hear about you and your goals, widening your network. How to avoid burnout when asking. Often asking frequently can feel exhausting or discouraging, especially if you face repeated rejection. To sustain your energy, set realistic goals. Define how many asks you'll make weekly, monthly, based on your bandwidth. Celebrate small wins. Every positive response, even a polite no, is progress. Practice self-care. Rest, exercise, and reflection keep you resilient. Use support systems. Share your goals with friends, mentors, or coaches who encourage you. Handling different types of asks. Not every ask is the same. Knowing how to tailor your approach depending on the situation improves success rates. Asks for resources. These could be money, time, or materials. Emphasize ROI, return on investment, or impact. Show you've done your homework and are prepared. Offer to reciprocate or pay it forward. Asks for support or collaboration. People often want to feel part of something bigger. Highlight shared goals or values. Make it easy for them to say yes by offering clear roles. Be open to feedback and input. Asks for permission or access. These include asking for introductions, meetings, or entry to networks. Be clear on what you want and why. Respect their boundaries and offer an easy out. Follow up politely without pressure. Real-life case studies. Asking big and often case study. 1. Sarah's career. Leap Sarah wanted a leadership role at her company, but felt hesitant to ask her boss directly. Instead of a timid approach, she mapped out her accomplishments, aligned them with company goals, and prepared a clear proposal showing how she could add value. She made her ask in a formal meeting, then followed up with smaller asks for feedback, mentorship, and project leadership opportunities. Each ask built momentum until she was promoted. Case Study 2. Marcus and his fundraising drive. Marcus was launching a nonprofit and needed significant funding. He started with a bold ask to potential donors, not just for money but for partnerships. Despite many initial rejections, he refined his pitch and kept asking different contacts. His persistence paid off when a major donor committed a large gift, inspiring others to join. Mastering the follow-up. A key to asking often the follow-up is where many people fail. They ask once, hear nothing, and give up. But a thoughtful follow-up can turn a maybe into a yes. Tips for effective follow-ups. Wait an appropriate amount of time, generally 3 to 7 days after the initial ask. Be polite and concise. Remind them of your request briefly. Add new value. Share an update or insight to keep it relevant. Ask for feedback. Invite their thoughts, which can open dialogue. Using technology to ask, big and often modern tools make frequent asking easier and more efficient. Email campaigns, personalized but scalable. Social media, share your goals publicly to attract support. CRM systems, track your asks and responses to manage follow-ups. Video messages, add a personal touch that stands out. Common mistakes to avoid: being vague. Lack of clarity weakens your ask. Asking without preparation. Know your why and how. Ignoring timing. Poor timing kills even the best asks. Not respecting boundaries. Pushiness harms relationships. Giving up too soon. Persistence pays off. Exercises to strengthen your asking practice. Bold. Ask brainstorm. List 10 big asks you've been afraid to make. Pick one and plan how to ask it this week. Frequency challenge. Commit to making 5 asks in 7 days, varying people and mediums. Follow-up role play. Practice writing or saying a polite follow-up to a no or no response scenario. Reflection journal. After each ask, note what worked, what didn't, and how you felt. Chapter 8. The Science of Persuasion. In asking is an art, but behind every great ask lies a powerful science, the science of persuasion. Understanding how persuasion works allows you to shape your asks so they resonate deeply, inspire trust, and motivate action. In this chapter, we'll explore the key psychological principles that influence how people say yes. You'll learn how to apply these principles ethically to create powerful, compelling asks that increase your chances of success every time. What is persuasion? Persuasion is the process of influencing someone's attitudes, beliefs, or behaviors through communication and social cues. It's not manipulation or coercion. Rather, it's about presenting your request in a way that aligns with the other person's values, needs, and desires. When you understand the mechanics of persuasion, you can craft your asks to appeal to what truly matters to your audience. The 6 universal principles of persuasion. Psychologist Robert Cialdini's groundbreaking research identified 6 core principles that shape human decision-making. These principles are foundational tools for anyone mastering the art of asking. Reciprocity. Give to get. People feel a strong obligation to return favors. When you offer something first, a kind gesture, valuable information, or a small gift, it creates a sense of indebtedness. How to use it. Before making your ask, offer genuine help or value. This could be sharing your expertise, making introductions, or simply expressing appreciation. Example: if you want someone's time, first offer to help with something they care about. Commitment and consistency. Get them to say yes. Small first. People strive to act consistently with their previous commitments. If someone agrees to a small request, they're more likely to agree to a larger one later. How to use it. Start with a small ask, a simple yes, then follow with your bigger request. This builds momentum and trust. Example: ask for feedback before requesting a big partnership. Social proof. Show that others are doing it. Humans look to others' behavior to decide how to act, especially in uncertain situations. How to use it. Highlight testimonials, endorsements, or examples of others who have said yes. Example: many people in your industry have joined this initiative. 4. Authority. Leverage expertise and credibility. People are more likely to be persuaded by those who appear knowledgeable or authoritative. How to use it. Share your credentials, successes, or endorsements from recognized experts to build trust. Example: as a certified expert in this field, I recommend. 5. Liking. People say yes to people. They like we're more inclined to agree with people we find likable, friendly, relatable, and sincere. How to use it. Build rapport, find common ground, and express genuine interest in the other person. Example: compliment sincerely or share a personal story to connect. Scarcity. Highlight what they might lose. People want what seems limited or rare. Scarcity increases perceived value and urgency. How to use it. Mention deadlines, limited spots, or unique benefits. Example: this opportunity is available to only 10 people. The neuroscience behind persuasion. When someone hears a compelling ask framed with these principles, multiple areas of their brain activate, especially the emotional centers like the amygdala and reward pathways like the nucleus accumbens. Effective persuasion appeals not just to logic, but also to emotions. Fear of missing out, desire for belonging, or aspiration for achievement. This combination creates a powerful motivation to say yes. Framing your ask. Using persuasion principles, framing means how you present your ask, the words, tone, and context. Reciprocity. Begin by offering something of value. Commitment. Start with small questions or requests. Social proof. Mention others who support your goal. Authority. Establish your credibility early. Liking. Use warm, conversational language. Scarcity. Create urgency without pressure. Ethical persuasion. The golden rule of asking. Persuasion must always be ethical. Your goal is to create win-win outcomes, not to trick or pressure. Be transparent about your intentions and respect the other person's autonomy. When you ask with integrity, you build lasting relationships and your reputation strengthens, making future asks easier. Practical examples. Persuasion in action. Example: 1. Asking for a raise. Reciprocity. Begin by highlighting your contributions. Commitment. Reference previous positive feedback. Authority. Cite industry salary benchmarks. Scarcity. Mention limited budget windows. Liking. Express appreciation for your manager's support. Social proof. Mention peers with similar roles. And pay. Example 2. Asking for a meeting. Reciprocity. Offer to share helpful information first. Commitment. Request just 15 minutes. Social proof. Mention others who found value in your conversations. Authority. Reference your expertise or background. Liking. Personalize your message with a genuine compliment. Scarcity. Note limited availability on your side. Exercises to master persuasion and asking. Identify which principle you use most. Reflect on past successful asks. Which principle was strongest? Practice small asks. Using different principles. Try asking for advice, reciprocity, feedback, commitment, or introductions. Social proof. Write your next big ask. Using all 6 principles. Create a persuasive message that incorporates each one thoughtfully. Chapter 9. Asking in relationships, work, and negotiations. Asking is a skill that transcends every aspect of life. Whether it's in your personal relationships, your career, or formal negotiations, how you ask can make all the difference between getting what you want or missing out. In this chapter, we'll explore the nuances of asking in these 3 crucial domains. You'll discover how to tailor your approach to fit the context, the people involved, and your desired outcomes. Asking in relationships. The heart of connection. Relationships thrive on honest communication. Asking, whether it's for support, time, or emotional needs, deepens trust and intimacy. Yet many people struggle to ask in relationships because of fear of rejection or conflict. Why asking matters in relationships builds mutual respect by honoring your needs and boundaries, enhances emotional intimacy through vulnerability, prevents resentment by clearing expectations, encourages collaboration and problem solving. How to ask effectively in relationships. Be clear and specific. Instead of vague requests like, "I need more help," say, "Could you take the kids to school twice a week?" Use I statements. Express your feelings and needs without blaming or accusing. For example, "I feel overwhelmed when the house is messy. Can we create a cleaning schedule?" Choose the right time and place. Avoid asking during high stress moments or distractions. Practice active listening. Show you're open to hearing their perspective and negotiating. Be ready for no. Respect their answer and look for alternatives. Example, asking for support in a relationship. Imagine you're feeling stressed, juggling work and home life. You might say, "I've been feeling overwhelmed lately. Could you help? By picking up groceries on Thursdays? It would really lighten my load." This clear, vulnerable ask invites cooperation without blame. Asking at work, professional growth and collaboration. In the workplace, asking is key to advancing your career, getting resources, and building effective teams. Yet, fear of appearing needy or incompetent often holds people back. Why asking is a career accelerator, clarifies expectations and aligns goals, opens doors to mentorship and skill development, secures resources and support needed to succeed, demonstrates initiative and proactive attitude. Strategies for asking at work. Prepare your case. Show how your ask benefits the team or company. Be professional and concise. Respect your manager's time. Follow the chain of command. Understand when to escalate or collaborate. Anticipate questions or objections. Prepare responses. Express gratitude. Thank people for their consideration. Example, asking for a raise instead of a vague request. Come prepared. Over the past year, I've led 3 successful projects that increased revenue by 15%. Based on this and industry standards, I'd like to discuss adjusting my salary to better reflect my contributions. Asking in negotiations. Winning with win-win. Thinking negotiations are structured conversations aimed at reaching mutually beneficial agreements. Asking boldly and strategically here is crucial. The fundamentals of asking in negotiations. Know your goals. What is your ideal outcome, your fallback? Understand the other party, their interests, constraints, and priorities. Build rapport. A positive relationship creates openness. Use silence. Don't rush to fill pauses. It often encourages concessions. Ask open-ended questions. Invite dialogue, not yes, no answers. Techniques for powerful negotiation. Asks anchor. Hi. Start with your best offer to set the tone. Use if-then proposals. If you can meet this term, then I can agree to that. Make multiple equivalent simultaneous offers. Mesos. Present several options to find common ground. Frame concessions as gains. Highlight what the other side gains when you give ground. Example, negotiating a contract. You might say, given the scope of work and the tight deadline, I propose a fee of X. If we can extend the timeline by 2 weeks, I'm willing to reduce the fee accordingly. This clear, conditional ask opens room for cooperation. The common thread, respect and empathy across relationships, work, and negotiations. The foundation of successful asking is respect and empathy. Understanding and honoring the other person's perspective creates a safe space for open dialogue. Overcoming common asking challenges in these contexts. Fear of rejection or conflict. Reframe rejection as information, not failure. Practice self-compassion. Prepare alternative options. Unclear wants or needs. Reflect and journal to clarify. Discuss your goals with trusted mentors or friends. Difficulty, saying no to others' asks. Practice. Polite refusal with, I appreciate you asking, but I can't commit right now. Set boundaries clearly. Exercises to practice asking in real-life relationship. Ask. Identify one need you've hesitated to express. Write a clear, respectful ask and share it this week. Work. Ask. Prepare and deliver a request for feedback or support on a project. Negotiation roleplay. Practice negotiating a simple scenario with a friend or coach, focusing on open-ended questions and win-win solutions. Chapter 10. The silent power of nonverbal asking. When we think about asking, we usually focus on what we say, the words we choose, the tone we use, the arguments we make. But asking isn't just verbal. In fact, much of the impact of any ask comes from nonverbal communication, the silent signals we send through body language, facial expressions, eye contact, and even our breathing. This chapter explores the silent power behind nonverbal asking. You'll discover how your body and presence can either open doors or close them, often more than your words ever could. Mastering nonverbal cues can help you make asks that feel sincere, compelling, and deeply human. The hidden language of asking studies show that in face-to-face communication, as much as 70 to 93% of meaning is conveyed nonverbally. When you ask for something, your body speaks just as loudly, if not louder, than your words. Think about it. A hesitant tone, crossed arms, or avoiding eye contact can undermine even the most well-crafted ask. Conversely, confident posture, genuine smiles, and steady eye contact invite trust and openness. Key nonverbal elements in asking one. Eye contact, the bridge to connection. Maintaining appropriate eye contact shows confidence and sincerity. It signals that you are present and honest, inviting the listener to engage. Avoiding eye contact may seem evasive or insecure. Too much staring can feel aggressive or intimidating. Aim for natural, warm eye contact that matches the conversation's rhythm. 2. Facial expressions. The mirror of emotion. Your facial expressions reveal your true feelings and intentions. Smiles, nods, and raised eyebrows encourage receptiveness, while frowns or furrowed brows can raise barriers. A gentle smile softens your ask and makes it approachable. Expressing genuine emotion builds empathy. Be mindful of micro-expressions, fleeting emotions that can betray nervousness or doubt. Posture and gestures. Your physical presence. Open, relaxed posture signals approachability and confidence. Gestures can emphasize points, illustrate ideas, or show openness. Leaning slightly forward demonstrates interest. Keeping arms uncrossed signals receptiveness. Use hand gestures moderately to emphasize key points. Tone and pace of voice. Beyond words, although vocal, tone and pace fall under nonverbal communication because they convey emotion beyond the literal meaning of words. A calm, steady tone conveys confidence and control. Varying your pitch can keep the listener engaged. Speaking too fast may seem anxious. Too slow may bore or frustrate. Proximity and space. Respecting boundaries. The physical distance you maintain affects comfort levels. Invading personal space can trigger discomfort, while too much distance may signal disinterest. Match the other person's comfort zone. Adjust based on cultural norms and context. How to use nonverbal asking to your advantage. Build rapport. Quickly use open body language and warm facial expressions right from the start to create a positive atmosphere. Mirror. The other person subtly matching the other person's posture and gestures, known as mirroring, builds subconscious connection. Signal vulnerability. Sometimes leaning forward slightly, softening your tone, or pausing before asking can communicate humility and openness, encouraging a positive response. Control nervous habits. Be aware of distracting behaviors like fidgeting, tapping, or avoiding eye contact. Practice grounding techniques like deep breathing to stay calm. Reading nonverbal cues in return. Nonverbal communication is a two-way street. When asking, observe the listener's body language for signs of interest, resistance, or confusion. Nods and smiles are positive. Crossed arms, lack of eye contact, or turning away suggest hesitation. Adjust your approach accordingly. Perhaps clarify, slow down, or offer more reassurance. Practical exercises to harness nonverbal. Asking mirror practice. In a conversation, gently mirror the other person's body language and notice how it affects rapport. Eye contact drill. Practice maintaining comfortable eye contact in everyday interactions. Record yourself. Record a video of yourself making an ask, then review your body language and tone. Breathing, focus. Before asking, take 3 slow, deep breaths to center yourself and calm nerves. Real life story. Non-verbal asking that changed everything. Consider the story of Sarah, who was nervous about asking her boss for a promotion. Instead of rehearsing complicated arguments, she focused on her posture and presence. On the day of the meeting, she sat tall, maintained warm eye contact, and spoke with a calm, steady voice. The nonverbal signals conveyed confidence and readiness. Her boss noticed and was much more receptive, leading to a positive outcome that words alone might not have secured. Chapter 11. Creating a life where you don't need to beg. Imagine a life where you never feel like you have to beg or plead to get what you want. A life where your asks come from a place of confidence, abundance, and mutual respect, not from scarcity or desperation. This is the ultimate goal of mastering the art of asking. In this chapter, we'll explore how to build a life so rich in value, relationships, and self-worth that asking becomes a natural, easy, and positive exchange, not a source of anxiety or power imbalance. Why we beg. The roots of scarcity. Mindset begging stems from a deep-rooted feeling of lack. It comes from believing there's never enough. Not enough love, money, opportunity, or respect. This scarcity mindset limits us, making asking feel risky and humiliating. Signs you're begging instead of asking: feeling anxious or ashamed when you make requests, settling for less or avoiding asking altogether, people consistently saying no or ignoring your requests, feeling powerless in relationships or work. Step 1. Build your inner abundance. Abundance starts inside. When you truly believe you are enough and you have something valuable to offer, your asking shifts. Cultivate self-worth practice. Daily affirmations. Celebrate your achievements no matter how small. Surround yourself with supportive people. Reflect on your unique skills and contributions. Develop a growth mindset. See challenges as opportunities to learn. View rejection as redirection, not failure. Commit to continuous improvement. Step 2. Strengthen your value. Proposition: people want to say yes when your ask aligns with value, what you bring to the table. Invest in yourself. Learn new skills relevant to your goals. Build a reputation for reliability and excellence. Offer help and add value before asking for something. Network authentically. Create genuine connections, not transactional ones. Focus on mutual benefit and shared interests. Step 3. Cultivate resources and support systems. A life where you don't have to beg is one supported by diverse resources: financial, social, emotional, financial stability, budget, and manage money wisely. Build savings and multiple income streams. Invest in yourself and your future. Social capital. Build a strong, diverse network. Seek mentors and allies. Be generous with your time and skills. Step 4. Communicate boundaries and standards. Clearly, when you know your limits and communicate them, others respect you more, and you avoid being taken for granted. Say no without guilt. Practice polite but firm refusals. Prioritize your time and energy. Use boundaries as tools for self-care and empowerment. Set expectations early. Be clear about your needs and limits in relationships and work. Follow through consistently. Step 5. Become proactive, not reactive. Stop waiting for permission or for things to happen. Take initiative to create opportunities and solutions. Plan and prepare. Set clear goals and actionable steps. Anticipate obstacles and prepare responses. Seek feedback and adjust. Take responsibility. Own your choices and outcomes. Learn from setbacks without blame. Real life story. From begging to empowered, asking meet James. For years, James felt like he was begging for recognition at work and support in relationships. His confidence was low, and he often avoided asking. One day, he decided to invest in himself, taking courses, improving his skills, and building healthier relationships. Over time, James's value grew, as did his network and financial stability. He learned to communicate his needs clearly and set boundaries. Suddenly, his asks were met with enthusiasm, not resistance. James created a life where he didn't need to beg. He asked from a place of strength. The freedom of asking without begging. Creating this life takes time, effort, and self-awareness. But the payoff is enormous. Freedom from fear, healthier relationships, greater success, and deep satisfaction. Exercises to build a life where you don't need to beg self-worth. Journal. Each day, write 3 things you like about yourself or your recent accomplishments. Value mapping. List your skills, strengths, and what you offer others. Reflect on how these support your asks. Boundary practice. Identify one boundary to set this week and communicate it clearly. Proactive planning. Choose one area where you usually wait for permission. Make a concrete plan to take initiative. Conclusion. Ask boldly. Live fully. Asking is not just a simple act of requesting. It is an expression of your courage, your clarity, and your connection to others. Throughout this journey into the art of asking, you have uncovered powerful insights and practical tools to transform how you seek what you want and need in life. To ask boldly means to step into your authentic power, shedding fear and doubt. It means embracing vulnerability with confidence and knowing your worth. When you ask boldly, you invite opportunity, deepen relationships, and open doors you never imagined possible. But asking boldly is only the beginning. To truly live fully, you must align your actions with your deepest values and dreams. It is about moving beyond hesitation and scarcity to embody a mindset of abundance and possibility. It is about creating a life where your voice matters, your needs are honored, and your impact is meaningful. Remember, every ask is a moment of creation. Every request is an invitation to grow, to connect, and to flourish. Whether it's a small favor or a grand vision, the way you ask shapes the world you live in. So go forth with intention and courage. Ask for what you want, knowing you deserve it. Ask often, knowing that each time you do, you strengthen your confidence and resilience. Ask with grace, knowing that the power of asking lies not just in words, but in presence, empathy, and authenticity. Ask boldly. Live fully. Your life is waiting.